Hello, friends. Today you're going to hear a story that was told by one of New York's cab drivers on one of the forums a few years back. I think it's no secret that cab drivers face different kind of situations every day. Some of them pleasant, some not so much, and some even absurd ones. And it's probably difficult to surprise an experienced driver, let alone move them. But the story, which was told by a man named Ethan, touched him to the core, and I think you'll find it interesting. It was a regular day at work for Ethan. The man arrived at the pickup address and stopped in front of a private house. Having looked at the house from the road, he noticed a rather beautiful two-story building with a green lawn and a backyard. He thought to himself that the people who lived in this house were very lucky. He'd been dreaming about a house like this one for a long time. He was thinking how it would be a perfect home to grow old in with a big, loud family, grandkids at the pool, and barbecue on the weekends. He waited for a few minutes, but no one came out, so he honked his horn. It was his last passenger for the night, and he even thought about turning around and leaving. But he parked the car instead and decided to check under its hood. But when the passenger still didn't come out, Ethan went to the door and knocked on it. "Just a minute," someone said from inside the house. "I could hear through the door that something heavy was being dragged across the floor," Ethan wrote later. Then came a long pause, after which the door opened. In front of him stood a small woman. At first glance, she seemed to be about 80 years old. It was hard to be sure. Next to her stood a huge suitcase which she was dragging across the floor. And of course, Ethan offered to help her carry it to the car. But when the driver stepped inside the house, he noticed that it looked completely uninhabited. All the furniture in the house was covered with sheets. There were no clocks on the wall, and all the shelves were empty. He noticed only one box in the corner filled with old family photographs and glassware. "Will you help me take my bag to the car?" the old lady asked. "Of course," said the cab driver, having already picked up the bag. "I'll take it to the car and you wait for me here. I'll help you walk out." Ethan quickly took the heavy suitcase to the car and came back to help the old lady. Then the woman took the driver's arm and they slowly walked to the cab. "She reminded me of my mother," Ethan later said. "I tried to do everything to make her feel comfortable. I could feel she was a good person." The woman thanked the driver for his kindness, but it was obvious that she was upset about something. "Of course, I didn't want to intrude. Usually, if someone wants to share what's upsetting them, they will, but I won't bother them with questions." The man only kept replying like a child to the woman's kind words of gratitude. "Oh no need to thank me. I just try to treat all my passengers the way I'd like my mother to be treated." But the old lady kept saying what a good person he was. When the car drove off the street with the house and onto the main road, the woman asked, "I'm sorry, but could we drive through the city?" Ethan checked the destination address and quickly replied, "Yes, but it won't be the quickest route." "It's okay, I'm not in a hurry," said the old lady. "I'll pay extra. I'm going to a nursing home anyway." The word struck Ethan. He looked in the rearview mirror and saw the old woman tear up. "I don't have any relatives left," she continued quietly. "The doctor said that I don't have much time left." After hearing these words, our hero silently turned off the meter. "Which route would you like to take?" he asked the woman. For the next 3 hours, they simply drove around the city. The woman's name was Rebecca. She showed him the building where she used to work as an accountant. There were still office buildings there. And Becky's favorite bench in a small green courtyard, which was still surrounded by life and young people sitting on it, same as she was many years ago. They drove through the whole neighborhood where she used to live with her husband of about 40 years after their wedding. It was clear that all these places and streets were very familiar to her. Every once in a while, she wiped away her tears. Then she asked the driver to stop in front of a furniture store, which was once a dance hall, where she used to dance when she was young. It was also the place where she met Bill, her husband for almost 4 decades. She also added that he passed away 5 years ago. Sometimes she asked the driver to slow down near some buildings or in some turns, while she just sat there and looked into the darkness without saying a word. When the sun was setting over the horizon, Becky suddenly said, "I'm tired. Let's go now." They arrived at their initial destination in complete silence. In front of them was a low-rise building which looked like a small resort with a driveway. As soon as they arrived, the employees came to the car. They were very polite, attentively observing the woman's every move. It was obvious that they were waiting for her. Ethan opened the trunk and took the suitcase out. By that time, Becky was very tired. "How much do I owe you?" she asked and reached for her wallet. "Nothing," the man replied. "But you have to make a living," the old lady objected. "I have other passengers for that," the man replied. "I don't know what came over me, but I didn't want to say goodbye." I even reached out and hugged the old woman, and she hugged me back tightly. "You're a very kind man, and you made me so happy today. This was the best day I've had in the last couple of years," Rebecca said. "Thank you." Ethan shook her hand and slowly walked to his car. He could only hear the door close behind him. He later wrote that it wasn't just the door that closed, but a whole story of one person's life. Ethan didn't take other passengers on that shift. He aimlessly drove around town, deep in his thoughts. He couldn't speak all day. What if the woman got a different cab driver? What if his shift was ending and he didn't want to waste the time? What if he refused to take a different route or honked once and left? "I believe that it was one of the most important things that I did in my life," the man added. We're used to thinking that our whole life is still ahead of us and that it revolves around important moments. But those important moments often appear in the form that may be considered insignificant by many. Sometimes it's worth thinking about what's really important: the house and the lawn that won't go anywhere, or pleasant moments and memories we make, our loved ones, true love, and the emotions we experienced. So friends, it's just a simple story that really makes you think. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, that's it for today. Rate this video, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time.